I'm not saying it's our
you're
fault.
blaming us?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying these are the facts.
Okay.
This is exactly what happened.
We were there. We were supportively loud, and then they did lose. But I feel we did nothing wrong because we made them feel important. If we weren't there, it really would just be a bunch of like adult men playing basketball.
She said, what?
How could they do something like that?
Are you serious?
What a thirsty MF-er.
Not good. She's absolutely dead to me.
That's because she died.
I'm Sterling Mulberry.
And I'm Blair Payton, and welcome to
Bad Behavior, a morally questionable podcast.
We're two unqualified friends,
Two unhinged comedians,
determined once and for all what is good
and what is bad.
Hello, and welcome to Bad Behavior. I'm Blair Payton.
And I'm Sterling Mulberry. In each episode of the podcast, a guest shares a morally questionable story, and we decide if they were in the right or the wrong.
Sterling, I can't believe I'm looking at your face right now.
I know.
I mean, we're breathing the same air is what I'm trying to convey.
We are, just side by side, cheek to cheek.
Yeah. Welcome back to New York.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing to be back.
Yeah.
I've been having the time of my life. I've been stomping around, listening to Brat.
You say that, but today you get here to
Well,
the studio.
I don't know if you have to mention that.
And she was like, I worked out. And she had a look on her face like, I will never do that again.
I'll never do it again.
And now she's worried she's sick.
Yeah. Well, I understand that a lot of girls out there love a workout class. Mm-hmm. And even boys like you.
Yeah.
You like that.
Yeah.
It's never been my culture, but
Sure.
I got persuaded this morning to do a crazy workout class.
Who persuaded you?
Well, my dear friend I'm staying with, and that's kind of like, when your host is like, well, will you please do this class with me? You say yes, because I am ultimately sleeping in her home.
Yeah.
Now,
Drooling on her sheets.
okay, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, I guess. This is very niche. But basically in the class, I got like a workout mat.
Well, tell the people what the class was.
I think it's solid core or something.
Is that like yoga?
It's like yoga, but this was not yoga. This was like strength training, really intense. And the instructor, we enter the studio, the instructor looks at us and goes, you guys done this class before? We're both like, no. She's like, no weights under 8 pounds, okay?
That's such a read.
Anyways, but basically, I got a yoga mat from the studio. Do you use a mat in your workout classes?
Sometimes.
Okay. I rolled it out. I'm doing it. I'm slipping and sliding the whole class. Honestly, the class was just so hard because I'm sweating.
What? Were you on roller skates?
Again, it's hot. The class is hot.
Okay.
So I'm sweating in a way that I'm like, I can't even believe my body can produce this much sweat.
Okay.
But
that's always good to know.
It is good to know, but I can't even stay on this mat. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this mat? I'm like, this is a workout just for me. At the end of the class, my friend looks at me and she goes, I realized halfway through your mat's on the wrong side. You're on the grip side, which is not like the can get sweaty side. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and so
it wasn't absorbing.
It was not. And that's why I was slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yoga mats absorb your sweat?
I don't know. Anyways, I did that really bright and early, but mostly I've been having a blast. Can
we go back to it? I just love that on a vacation, you're like, yeah, let's work out.
No, I usually am not because I actually haven't worked out this whole vacation, which is why this workout was so hard.
Yeah.
But I got here, Blair.
Yeah.
I've been seeing friends. Oh, I just mean to the city. I've been seeing friends.
Yeah.
And I even went out this past weekend.
Hot.
I went out in the financial district. Huh?
It's very quiet there at night.
Really quiet, kind of weird. We went to a bar.
Okay.
And what they're known for is having bras everywhere. On the ceiling, on the walls.
Oh, I think I've heard of this place.
And I didn't like it.
What's it called?
I don't know, Bra City. No, I don't know. I don't even know the name. But it was scary. And it was like, when you like...
Well, now, let's say you're having a situation where, because it's hot as hell in New York.
It's so hot.
And when you get to Bra City, the bar, that you're like, oh, my bra is so wet. I wish I had a replacement bra to put on. Well, just grab one from the ceiling and try it on. And you're like, okay, my honks are dry.
Yeah, that's... the way you just said that word, I'm like, the Chipotle is coming back up. Well, I love being back in the studio with you.
Yeah.
And I love that we have some phenomenal guests today.
Yes, they've been making us giggle in the studio.
They've been making us giggle in the studio. And also, I've been giggling online watching them for, I want to say this, for far too long for me to reveal.
It's stalker territory.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like I've been such a fan for so long. And in some ways, I'm like,
You need to cool it.
I gotta be regular because I know too much.
Get to know them before you weird them out.
I know. And you know that's hard for me.
I know.
But we are truly so excited to have on today 2 podcast hosts on the show today who are both writers and comedians. Please welcome Lydia Keating and Issa Medina from I'm Right, You're Wrong podcast.
Woo!
Issa and Lydia, welcome to Bad Behavior.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thanks for
So
having
excited
us.
to be here.
Well, we were just talking planes, trains, automobiles, kind of.
Well, the thing I love is they were talking about LA. So Sterling famously lives in LA, and they were giving you such motivational advice about the dating scene
I
out
said,
Yeah.
girl, kill it.
Okay, so this is kind of my hypothesis, a little of the differences between the two that my friend and I have come up with. Okay, New York, you can see a billion people and you can get a billion dates. And in LA, it's like you can't get a date, but if you do find one, they will, I guess, marry you.
Well, that
What do
to
you think?
me,
I agree.
I didn't really date in LA because when I was there, I was like in this like open and then closed long distance relationship.
I love those.
Yeah, they're so fun and simple and easy and clean. But it does, like, from that description, I feel like LA does sound preferable because then at least like New York, the way you describe it, sounds like it's very easy to waste your time or get your time wasted.
That's why also I feel like I've become the LA flake in New York because like I have this date tonight and then I'm like, oh, do I even like want to go on it? Like,
How did
is
you
it
meet
gonna?
that
I
person?
feel that so much. I love canceling plans.
Yes.
I love it.
The one reason I'm like I want to go is because the way that I met the person was watching like the Colombia versus Argentina game, like through a friend.
And for listeners who may not know, that is a sports
of soccer.
soccer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew.
You knew. But yeah, it was the Copa America final.
Sure, yeah, of course.
I'm from Colombia, and Colombia was playing Argentina, and I met this guy at the bar, and then we like walked to the train together, and he asked for my number, and I was like, wait, that's kind of like a meet cute.
I know. Do you feel like you can kind of keep dating someone or stay in a relationship just because the meeting story was so
I
good?
feel like people do that.
You know, because you're like, well, every time I kind of get to say where we met, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though maybe the rest of it is kind of like,
Yeah.
So is that the thing that's
Well, I feel
keeping you
like-
going on the date
Yeah, I
tonight?
was going to say, I feel like that even gets you to the first round.
Okay.
Like, at least. You know what I mean?
Where you're like, just thank God we didn't meet on an app.
Yes. I'm like praying. I'm like, sure, I'll settle down.
Well, tell us about this guy. What's he like? What's he look like? What's his handle?
yeah.
Well, he's pretty basic looking.
Hot.
I was saying this to a friend today. I was like, he could be hot or he could be ugly depending on the way he dresses.
Shoot.
And he was wearing. Yeah.
I think that's the classic.
Yeah, that's kind of just
Oh,
men.
that's for everyone, though.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there are some women who can dress anyway and be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the two of you have a podcast, but before that, met, if I believe I'm correct, in Los Angeles at an open mic.
Yeah.
What kind of did you see each other across the room? What
Yeah.
kind of brought you together? Because
Tell us about that
I
meet
have
cute.
been to open mics in Los Angeles. It's one of the scariest places I think you can ever go.
Yeah.
Really scary. So what kind of, how did you, one, kind of even have the courage to even be in that place, and what attracted you to each other to become friends?
I'll let you. So I feel like it was this thing of we literally were like the only normal, cool, cute girls in the room.
We were both cute and we were in the room.
Yeah.
And
You went up to each other and said, you're pretty cute.
yeah.
no, everyone else was like a middle-aged man making like a Hitler joke.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's not us.
Yeah.
And we felt kind of like a kindred spirit.
Yeah, it was kind of like eyes locked from across the room. I left, and then Lydia chased after me.
Well, okay, I
Whoa.
actually like, I don't know if this is creepy of me, but I like remember, well, I actually don't remember what top you were wearing, but I remember that Issa was wearing these like really cute boot cut jeans.
Oh.
And like a funky belt that was like kind of
I actually
chunky.
think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, she's like, I loved your outfit, I remember thinking. And like, that was the kind of the first thing that kind of drew me to you.
Sterling, do you remember what I was wearing?
No.
Wow.
Well, Lydia also has like really good style, and it was like
At the time, I don't know if I did, though.
But what was the turning point for the good style?
Oh, I feel like honestly it was when I started doing like content creation and then like I literally only discovered Pinterest maybe like 2.5 years ago, and I was like, oh, I can literally copy people who do this.
Yeah,
Actually, still don't have style.
Pinterest is a game changer for style.
It really
I gotta
is.
get on there. One of the craziest things that I think has happened, and I again don't know everything online. Okay. You recall it was you that Therapy Jeff stitched from your videos. When this happened, I literally was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
Was this the worst thing ever? But
Wait,
I literally
who's
was
Therapy
like,
Jeff?
He's this rando.
He's like this, it was like the most.
He actually is kind of famous.
He's so, but it was like the most I thought it was like one of the most innocuous videos that you had posted.
I posted a video on my burner TikTok where I'm just like shooting the breeze. Okay, I'm always joking on that.
Yeah.
And I posted this video being like, I don't trust TikTok. It was supposed to be self-deprecating. The premise was like, I don't trust TikTok therapists because like if there's any part of you that's trying to get famous on the internet, like you're a little mentally ill. Like obviously calling attention to myself. I've made my whole career trying to get famous on the internet. Like it was kind of like a riff off of like the meme of like I've never seen anything healthier than a private Instagram account. Something like that screams like you're mentally well if you have a private Instagram account. The opposite being like you're actively trying to get famous on the internet. You're sick, honey. So I was trying to like make a joke off of that, like truly not thinking of any specific therapist. I make this video, and the next day, probably the biggest TikTok therapist finds it, and he's like, I can't even remember exactly what his argument was, but it basically was like, I offer free therapy to people who can't afford it, and like really just like ripped me apart. And then his like followers kind of came to my comment section. I'm like, girly pops, this is my burner. And but I was just like, at that, I thought it was so ridiculous. And
well, that's like when someone with so many followers also like kind of comes for someone like that. That's like unhealthy behavior. He literally is a therapist. He should know better.
Yeah, and it's like I clearly struck a chord. Like, bro, I wasn't even thinking of you.
Which shows he is mentally ill because he wasn't able to control his behavior. Bad behavior.
Therapy Jeff, bad.
You have a podcast famous called I'm Right, You're Wrong. Yay. And so we have a game on the podcast called Heaven or Hell. So we're going to present some different scenarios for you. These are going to be scenarios in which there's a disagreement happening. And you're going to decide if this is a heaven, hell, or if you're kind of ambivalent about it, purgatory kind of scenario you've been placed in.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, you have a complicated falling out with a friend. And to get some objective takes, you post the situation on Reddit to get feedback on what to do.
Is it anonymous?
Yeah. It's like
right.
F 29-year-old. 29F.
Yeah.
You can tell I've literally never posted on
Yeah.
Not Issa.
I've never done that, but I feel like it could be heaven unless you then hear what you don't want to hear, which is where you turn to more outlets.
Maybe heaven. Like I'd be curious.
Yeah.
If I was like not lazy, like I feel like the only thing preventing me from doing that is being lazy.
Yeah.
Typing that whole thing out and
starting an account.
Totally.
Yeah.
I do the real life version of that, which is I call like 10 different friends and tell them the same exact story.
Are these objective friends or the friends that are going to tell you what you want to hear?
Some are objective, some are going to tell me what I want to hear. So I kind of get a mixed bag. And then I am a consultant and I assess the data and then I come to a conclusion.
You look at the different verticals.
Exactly.
Okay.
After a friendly disagreement with your significant other about whether to use a top sheet or just a plain duvet, they call their parents on speakerphone to get their opinion.
Hell.
I think heaven, I would rather hear it than them go behind my back.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think that was an option.
Open and honest communication.
And here's the real thing. Are you guys using top sheets? I'm staying at
I
was
don't.
staying at a place.
I don't.
Wow, it's just duvet.
Can I ask though, what
I've been
is
thinking about it if I'm being honest.
What is a duvet?
Wait.
A duvet is like the
a comforter,
fluffy
a
comforter.
What are you
But
talking
a
about,
duvet
Blair?
is different from a duvet cover.
Sure.
It's like, you know, you
Well,
can
I just call it a comforter.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
same thing.
But it's called a duvet?
Well,
Can I just say something about that scenario that this is what it triggers me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is I feel like I'm triggered by people who have like close, whether it be romantic people or friends who have close enough relationships with their parents that they're like, let me get my mom's advice.
Oh, no. I do that all the time.
And it's like, it's not your fault that I'm triggered by it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like me wishing I had that with my parents. But that's why I'm like.
But I've never been in a relationship, so I don't think I would go to my parents for relationship advice, actually, because toxic.
Unfortunately, I did that this week, and my parents are both like unreliable narrators, and and it's like, yeah, you never want to tell your mom something bad about someone because then they're gonna be like.
That actually is a really good point because like my sister would always come to us with just the problems, and like her and her now fiance have an amazing relationship, but it's like if you only come to your family with the problems, then it's like you have an idea of that person's partner.
Yeah, you have to be very precious about like what you share, or at least in my family, what you share, because they will use that as ammo.
Or dude, that's so true.
But it's so hard because I do think about this with friends a lot, because that is obviously so often the case of like only sharing like when you need
the concerns,
advice. Because it's like, well, if your friend came to you and was like, hey, just want to let you know, like we had an amazing makeout last night. I just want to make sure you. It's like, ew.
It's like the news.
It's so hard to say like how do.
Well, because I was gonna say the way to like fix that problem would be to also share the good things, but you're so right. Like I don't need to know like all the good things, but also to take it like a little bit step further. We have to put trust in our friends and know that they would only be in a relationship that was also good to them. You know, like assume that there are also good things as the person hearing the things.
Yeah, so hard sometimes though.
You know?
Yeah, because
Oh no, I've never done that.
But then I'm like,
have I done that? No.
but a lot of times I say,
No,
let's get her out. But yeah. But I trust her.
I know. I was saying that as an idea.
Yeah, no, totally. That's a good idea. That's a good one.
Put it into the universe.
Yeah.
Manifest it. Okay, number 3. Each time you try to get together with a friend you've known for years, they are seemingly busy and don't initiate new plans. Instead of figuring out what's changed, you just slowly ghost each other.
Heaven, right? What is the question?
yeah, I guess heaven.
We've talked about this on our podcast. We did an episode on like friendship breakups, whether like they're right or wrong, like having a conversation and fully breaking up. I don't know what we decided was.
Well, I think like I don't know what we decided as like whether it's right or wrong. But I do know.
Kind of blackout.
Yeah, totally.
I'm always so hungry after we record. But I think we did decide like that if you're going to have like the official breakup conversation, it's really hard. Like it doesn't leave a lot of space for healing. So it's hard to backtrack on that. But so the slow fade away, even though it's still like painful and it is kind of a form of a breakup, it does leave a space to return because no one said anything hurtful in a confrontation.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. After having a negative experience dining at a fancy restaurant, your friend insists you post a lengthy review on Yelp.
If I have a bad time at an expensive restaurant, you're going down.
Really? You'd post about it?
Issa will fight that fight.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's like we're paying so much money.
Yeah.
It's like do it right.
But I think the important thing is, are you going to go back and proofread it before you post it? Because my sister, when she gets mad and does a review, my older sister, Heather, she will post a review. She's a teacher and she doesn't proofread it. So it's riddled with spelling errors. I was like, this is not a promo for you, Heather.
It's like, am I pregnant? I'm saying heaven, but I've never done it before, if I'm being honest.
I have.
Oh,
you have?
Okay.
Not a fancy restaurant, an ice cream place in Boston.
Okay.
And what it was is I went in there. I was so excited for my ice cream. No one was there, so I go, hello. And
Okay, good start.
no one comes out. I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't hear me. It wasn't like quite a loud enough. I find a little bell.
Sure. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, Lord.
The second that then someone emerges, she's like a woman, she was probably like mid-20s. She comes out. I will say she looked a little worse for the wear. She looked a little tired. And she was like, can you wait a second? And gave me a lot of attitude. And I was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Unfortunately, I'm a deeply sensitive person. So when she said this, I'm like filled with a feeling immediately. I'm like,
does your neck or face get red?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Externally, yeah, no problem. Internally,
And I end up leaving because I'm like, and I write this big review where I'm like, there was no one at this.
Did you leave in front of her? Like,
no, she goes back into the back.
Okay.
But there was like, it was literally like a random, like it was like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
You have one job and it's literally to stand in the front of the thing.
Yeah. She gave me
She could have been texting her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
She could have been going through something.
So I posted the review where I like identify her. I'm like the girl with black hair and like blah, blah, blah. And then I immediately am flooded with regret after posting this.
Yeah.
No, I'm so proud of you.
No, and then I my boyfriend at the time, I'm like, oh my God, what if she was like mentally ill? And this is like the post that sends her over the edge.
Well, why would he say that to you?
No, I said this to him. He's like,
He's like,
You're like, I feel bad. And he's like, but what about this?
yeah. So I deleted it within 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What was the headline?
Stupid bitch.
I can't remember.
Made me cry.
Yeah. Can't remember what the headline was, but it was like I felt so defiant and then so quickly regretful.
If you could go back in time,
yeah.
what flavor ice cream would you have gotten?
Such a good question. It was Emac and Bolio's.
Wait,
That's
I just
so-
went there this weekend. I was shocked to my core.
In Boston?
Is
No,
it good?
Here.
Oh, they have them here?
Emac and Bolio's? I was in Fort Greene. They have one.
Oh my God.
we should
Okay.
go.
Emac and Bolio's?
One scoop.
I've never heard of it.
Am I saying that right?
correct.
It sounds like a disease.
Emac and Bolio's, one scoop. Okay, I live in Los Angeles, also an expensive city, and I've lived here. One scoop, one cone. How much?
$16.
Stop.
Okay, well that's crazy. Now it's not going to sound that good.
Any sprinkles?
No, but I did get a cone with like a little chocolate coating on the side.
6, 7, 8.
10.
Yeah, that's kind
fucked
of
up.
Yeah,
I said,
wild,
and then
yeah.
I was like, oh, it was just the, and then they were like, well, the vegan flavors are double. I was like, for an allergy.
You're
That
like,
is hell.
I was like, I'm like, I'm doing a service by eating ice cream that's not even that
Also,
that
it's
good.
not a service. It's literally less ingredients. Like,
I know.
what
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Anyways, but it was actually really good.
Actually,
But
we
was
don't know
it
if that's
worth
true.
$10? I don't know because that's so much for an ice cream. But it was good, I guess.
So what were you going to get at
But yeah,
Emac
what-
and Bolio's?
what would you
I
have
don't
gotten?
remember. Probably. I mean, I really oscillate between fruity and like chocolatey,
Yeah.
so I could never. It depends on my mood.
Well, that's so actually sad because I can just
fluctuating or the
no the situation
Yeah.
because I'm just picturing you being like having just like you were like I'm gonna treat myself to ice cream. You're like alone. You're like, hey, I'm just gonna like get a scoop. Hello.
Yeah.
Ding ding.
Yeah, I was in an amazing mood too. Yeah, when I came in, I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then this lady's like, can you wait a
Yeah.
second? That's just rude.
Say the name of the place again.
Emac
Mooly and
Bolio's.
booby.
okay, Blake,
I need to see that right
Big
now.
titty.
And make a booty go.
You start dating someone new and realize that you both have the same therapist. They beg you to keep it a secret from the therapist so neither of you have to find a new one.
Oh.
Hell.
Hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
That person
be
sounds
hard.
weird.
Also, yeah, I'm sorry, but the therapist is gonna figure it out.
Also, like, kind of a dream scenario. Like, then you really get the therapist is clearly getting the other side if things go south. They're getting your side. The therapist is making, like, truly the most informed decision.
Yeah.
Because, like, the biggest problem I have with every therapist I've ever seen is that they're a yes man or woman.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried telling your therapist to not be a yes man? Because I did have to do that with mine.
Really?
Well, I didn't have to, but I was like, I feel like, well, something I learned from like finding therapists and to have a good experience with your therapist is you have to be like brutally honest with them about how you feel about them. So I've like told,
I don't know if I could do that.
Isa is like, she doesn't give a fuck. I'm
So
like,
do you roast your therapist?
I have kindly, like I've been like, I feel like you sometimes just agree with what I'm saying, or sometimes I'm like, I feel like you're just listening and you're not like telling me what to do. I'm like, I want advice. She's like, and now she doesn't always give me advice, but sometimes she'll be like, do you want me to give more advice or more? Like, you know, it's like,
yeah.
so now she knows like what it is that I want and what I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
It
But
took me like 2 years to like barely tell my therapist, old ex-therapist, that I was like, yeah, it could be like maybe like nice every once in a while for you to like help me get like tools in my toolkit to help me.
I am begging for tools every day. I'm like, it would be amazing to have like another little tool. Okay, so we've come to the portion of the podcast where you both are going to maybe share a story jointly or different or separate, whichever you agree with. And Blair and I are etiquette experts, so we're going to judge and decide if you exhibited good or bad behavior.
So I live in an apartment building where I pay for a space in my garage, which is below the apartment building. We live across the street from this, like, I think it's like a mechanic shop. Like, I don't really know exactly what they do, but they always have like a lot of vans going on. They often park in the like, it's supposed to be open where my garage is, and they park in the spot that's like blocking the garage.
Yeah.
So, and usually they're like out and about. So I'll like, the garage will open and I'll honk and someone will be like, well, just 1 second. And they'll come like rushing over. And I will be honest, most of the time it takes 3 minutes for them to move their car, 3 extra minutes. And there have been a couple of occasions where it's taken more like 7 minutes, okay? Which is like, if you're running late, those 7 minutes are precious.
Yeah.
But in my experience, it has only been when I'm leaving my garage. I've never, weirdly, until today, never had the experience of trying to get back in and it's blocked.
Okay.
Which is a little trickier because the road I live on is a one-way road that has a lot of traffic. So like if you stop and you're trying to get it, like there will be people backing up behind you. Okay, so to paint a picture of my morning, I go to physical therapy. My physical therapist suggests that we do a hex bar deadlift. I don't even know what it's called. Okay. I experienced a terrible back spasm. It was terrible. And I also am like, whatever. It just put me in a terrible mood. I have like, I'm supposed to lead this run with
Your
Issa
back
tomorrow.
hurts and you were like wobbling.
Yeah. So I like hobble out of physical therapy. I get in my car and I drive home. I actually start listening to our podcast. I find myself getting into Uplifted. The episode, at least the first 20 minutes of the episode, is pretty good this week.
Yeah.
Give it a listen. That's an aside. I turn on to my street and lo and behold, it's blocked. And like just yesterday, I had to walk across the street and be like, hey, can you guys move your car? And this has been going on since I've lived in this apartment building. So my request for them to move has gotten progressively more gruff, if you will. Like I've been started off being like, hi, I live there. Could you move your car? To like, can you move your car? So I will say the attitude has changed.
Good.
But last time I asked them to move it, I said, hey, just so you know, it's extremely frustrating when I'm trying to leave my apartment building and I always have to get out of my car and ask one of you to move. And the guy he wasn't the owner, so it's like one of those where I'm like, I'm speaking to the middleman, but he's like, okay, we're moving it right now. And it's like, doesn't address that this is like a continuous issue. Yeah. So I drive down my street. I see that I'm blocked. I try and pull to the side, but like, and I drive a Toyota Yaris, so there's like, it's small, but the people behind me, there's like 7 cars behind me trying to get by. It's New York City immediately. It's like so many people laying on their horn. But I'm like filled with so many emotions. I had this like back spasm. I'm like pissed about them blocking it. I'm like, do I have to loop around and get out of my car? So I try and pull to the side and get out, but then I'm like halfway out and the guy right behind me, he's like, move your fucking car. And I explode with rage. I don't even know exactly what I said to him.
I'm so proud.
But when I scream, like when I get like really angry, it's like I literally like sound like a man. I'm like, yes! Like there. And the point where I like knew I had like the monster had been unleashed from the cages. There was like a little old man like on his like clearly morning walk across the street, and he like looks over eyes full of fear, and I'm like, oh my god, he's looking at me like I'm the monster, and like people are staring. Yeah. And then the guy in the car goes, "Fucking bitch!" Yeah. So, which like just more confirmation. We already have everything saying what they have to say about Kamala, but like people hate women. Yeah. Okay, so it's like, God. So I call my boyfriend. I'm like, can you? And I like get back in my car, start looping around. I call my boyfriend. And I say, can you come downstairs and ask the people to move the car out of the driveway? And I was like, someone just called me a fucking bitch. And he's like, what? So I come around. Someone's already moved the car, but I like I like pull into the garage lot and I get out of mine and I see the people working at the mechanic shop. And I was like, was that one of your cars that was parked there that like now miraculously is gone? Like it clearly was. He's like, oh, I think it was a customer. I don't know who that was. And I'm like, oh, really? And then I burst into tears and I'm like, you guys need to stop parking your car here. It is ruining my day. Did you see what just happened? I'm like crying, but screaming. People are looking. Max comes out. He's like grabbing my shoulder. Like I'm kind of like, it's like one of those where he's like holding me back.
He like put me in.
Yeah. And one of the like these two men who are like working in the warehouse, one like walks away, like they're confused. I then go into the office and I'm like still crying and I'm like, you guys need to move it. And then basically the office guy is like, we always move it whenever you ask. And I'm like,
it's illegal to park there.
It's illegal to park there. And I'm like, do you need me to start calling the police? And he's like, we're being courteous neighbors. We move it whenever you ask. And I'm like, well, did you see what just happened? Because some guy called me a fucking bitch because you guys had your car there and that scenario wouldn't have happened. Anyway, I'm getting reworked up talking about it. But it also, unfortunately, it's like female rage is taken so unseriously. And it's like the fact that I was crying because it's like a thing where like women cry when they're angry. And like, I don't know if that's all true, but like I certainly cry when I'm angry.
We do, but it's because anger is above sadness and we're more in touch with our emotions.
Yeah. And like
it sounded good.
Yeah, it really did. My therapist
it sounded
says.
poetic. Yeah. But anyway, like then I eventually I tired myself out being like, you can't park there. And then them being like, we have nowhere else to park. You know how difficult it is parking around here. And I'm like, okay, then you pay for a $300 spot a month. Yeah. But eventually I left. But I will say I went back up to my apartment and continued crying because I was like so ashamed of my behavior. I don't know if you've ever had like a public meltdown. Anyone who walked by would have been like, she's a Karen. And I'm like, if only you motherfuckers knew context. The context that this was the end of my rope.
Literally, you did nothing, and I'm saying this with my full back. You did nothing wrong.
Thanks, girl.
I'm not even kidding. And you know what? Next time I go to your apartment, if it's parked, I'm calling 311 and they're getting a ticket.
What's 311?
It's non-emergency police, and you can give people. I've done it. I've done it in LA. I've given people like there was a car.
That's amazing. Issa.
There was a car.
She's giving tickets left and right.
I'm literally giving. If there are people who used to block my driveway in LA.
Yeah.
You get a ticket, babe.
Yeah.
And it's a $200 ticket. And if you do it again, you're getting another ticket.
Yeah.
Wait, should we judge that story or do you want to tell the combined one?
Yeah. I mean, is the judgment like a really long thing?
No. It's not. No, it's not long at all.
I mean, I don't think
if there's going to be another story, we might combine the judgments, basically. But
okay. Yeah, so pretty much Lydia and I got drinks. And we both ended up ordering a Coca-Cola.
That's good.
It was good.
Good behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of drinks?
We ordered soda.
Oh, you just ordered soda.
Yeah.
It wasn't like alcohol and a Coke.
No, it was like we were going to get drinks and then we were like, well, I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
And then so we both just got soda.
Yeah.
Okay, fun.
And then Lydia was going to her boyfriend's rec basketball team
men's
game.
recreational basketball team.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
I actually love going to them. There is something really heartwarming about seeing like grown adult men, some of whom are balding, running around a court, just playing their little hearts out. Like, this is the most important thing they do all week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and then some of them are actually like decent at basketball. It's like not bad. It's good basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know I love sports.
Yeah. Sport girl.
So I joined. And it kind of got heated. Like we ended up just being like really loud during the game, cheering
from the
a lot.
Cokes or just
maybe we were
yeah,
high
we
from
were
the
amped
Coke.
up.
I don't know.
Well, so it was
wrong.
technically friends and family night, and they gave us these
I didn't know that.
truly obnoxious. Yeah, so there was like they set it. Normally, there's like no place for spectators to sit. You kind of have to stand and watch the games.
Okay.
But they set up these bleachers for people to spectate, and I would say like it was like a slim showing, but like we were one of the people there, and they were handing these like truly obnoxious kind of like balloons that
Balloon
if you
sticks?
if you
Yeah.
bang
Them, they're
them
like,
together,
Yeah.
they make an ear ringing noise.
Yeah.
It's awful. And Issa,
I was hitting mine so hard
for
that
60 minutes straight.
the balloon deflated. And I needed another one.
And then, like, you made up a name for the team.
Oh,
like,
because they didn't have a name. So I
They
was
didn't
like,
have a
go
name?
Chargers. Like, I just was like, yes. And
I worry. This is my fear of what we ended up doing. Okay, well, so long story short, my boyfriend's team, it was like a 1-point game the whole time.
they started getting like a ton of fouls.
Yeah, it felt like there was some.
That's
And a
bad,
mo-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like some unfair calls, like by the ref.
Okay.
But I feel like we were maybe firing the other team up by being so annoying. And then my other fear is that in being so loud, we also were kind of making it about us instead.
It was about us.
And then my boyfriend's team ended up losing. I'm not saying it's our
you're
fault.
blaming us?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying these are the facts.
Okay.
This is exactly what happened.
We were there. We were supportively loud, and then they did lose. But I feel we did nothing wrong because we made them feel important. If we weren't there, it really would just be a bunch of like adult men playing basketball.
Sure.
As evidenced by, at the end, there was one player on the bad guys team, like the team we didn't want to win, who kept kind of started taunting us a little bit. And at the end of the game, after he won, he kind of did one of these and then he looked at us and he goes, "Go home."
Oh, and he was like,
I was like, is he talking to us?
So can you explain for the listening audience how he was doing his hands? It was kind of like a
fists together, pointing to the ground,
flexing the shoulder muscle,
like he's on a pogo stick.
Now, was this indoor or outdoor basketball game?
Indoor.
Oh.
Yeah.
So noise does kind of travel a little
Oh,
fast.
it was echoing.
It was echoing.
And they play good music during the games.
Oh, okay, fine.
I feel like we were having
50 Cent.
fun.
Okay.
Oh, I think, maybe like the one thing that like maybe I could have taken too far at one point, I think I said something. I think I said something and you were like, no. But I think it was, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, I think I was like, I think I either was like bullshit call or I was like, I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
I think you were like, what? To the ref. And I've seen the refs get like,
I think it was like, oh, we know the ref has a favorite.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have seen these refs basically turn on teams if they don't like them. And actually only 2 weeks after we were there was an incident where one of the players punched the refs. Yeah. That player got kicked out of the league.
Open or closed fist?
I think
punch
Open fist is slap.
You're gonna hurt your
It's done like that.
a palm.
Yeah, palm to the face.
Now, did you talk to your boyfriend after the game? Did he also say you were being loud? In your head, were you being loud, or did other members kind of also agree with that sentiment?
Max did not voice any qualms with our volume, but and this could be in my head because I do overthink a lot, I felt like we were at times getting some side eye from people on Max's team. Because
Well, how was Max's body language?
Oh, Max didn't express any issue with our behavior. Let me make that clear. He's a king and supports loud women.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about Max silencing anyone.
I know that you guys are the ones who make this decision, but
Sure.
I really didn't think we did anything wrong.
He's just like, why are we telling this story?
Can you say the game? But I don't know if you recall the game before this game and the game maybe after this game. Did they win or lose?
Well, this was the final game of the season.
Okay.
Then there was a reshuffle in players because a new season technically started.
Okay.
They had played this team in the regular season, and they had beaten this team. So this was the other team did in fact get revenge.
But I do feel like, it wasn't because of us. I think it was because that team came back with something to prove. Yeah.
Could be.
Now, had you been to other games before?
I go to almost every game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the last time they played them, and they won.
Yeah.
Did you notice
This is a sports podcast.
Did you notice a difference in their look from the game that the team lost to the one where they won? As in, could there have been some performance-enhancing drugs?
Oh,
the other team.
The other team?
You would be really good at a
I honestly
sports podcast.
Thank you, because I get it.
Yeah.
I kind of did feel like that one guy who was going crazy.
Probably on
was
testosterone
He
or
was
some shit.
on meth.
Yeah.
He was on testosterone.
Wait, is that
Clearly on it.
He was on T. Okay, love that for him.
No, he looked like
Him.
scrambly eyes. Yeah.
Now, was this the first time you noticed it?
This guy, yeah. I actually, frankly, can't remember the last time they played this team specifically, but I will say that Max's team really did fall apart. I feel like
I'd never seen them before, but I do feel like they weren't they weren't working as a team. I do feel like I caught some, not actual side eye, but like Max, Lydia's boyfriend's dad, was like, settle down.
Oh, he said that too?
No, he didn't actually. Oh. But I felt like he was thinking it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that kind of confirms because there was, that confirms.
No, but he was laughing too. So I feel like he was having a good time.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have 2 stories today.
Yeah.
And they both involve almost a little similar aspects. Oh. And I think it's this.
That is a good point.
Using your voice.
Oh.
Women using their voice.
Oh my God.
Obviously, one instance was maybe like more rage filled and one was more joy filled.
Yeah.
But like both, it's like, how do we kind of like monitor our own behaviors and like what people like maybe think about us? And then like the more joyful filled one, like no one actually ever came up to you and said like, shh or something, which maybe you would have been like, so it's like reading into a lot of like, maybe we should be doing this. That like, ultimately, and we have to remember this, rec basketball is, I'm sure, like huge, intense, but it is maybe for fun.
Yeah.
And,
maybe.
I'm sure I know people are throwing punches, but it should be for fun, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I think I'm ultimately saying good behavior for both. I think your situation obviously sounds terrible today and amazing for you to still be here. Blair?
I'm reminded of a movie that starred Hilary Duff. Are we familiar with her?
I love her. Big fan.
It was this movie called Raise Your Voice.
Oh,
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I'll give you a quick rundown.
We'll watch it. Oh.
She loved to sing, and her brother believed in her. And he would film her all the time in a normal way. And he got her into a school. He died. But I'm not saying
about that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's connected, but it does happen around the same time. And she was so afraid to use her voice. Yeah. She would get nervous. And then one day, you know what she did? What? She took her voice.
Yeah.
And she raised it.
Yeah, she did.
Like octaves or just louder?
No, she just raised
It's
it.
louder.
She turned up the volume.
She was whispering.
She spoke up.
But that's neither here nor there because neither one of you were saying, fall down and was us here.
Let it wash away my melodies because I want to feel the thunder. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Now, if you listen to those lyrics, because you had a bad day today, you need to let the rain fall down and wash it away. And like Sterling said, if you were causing such a ruckus at the game, they should have said something.
Yeah.
They should have flicked us.
Yeah. And also, too, I'm going to say it. I think the other team was doing steroids.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I don't think this
That's
win.
what I meant by testosterone.
Yeah.
This win was illegitimate.
Oh, well, I agreed with you. So, but the word just came to me because I listened to my inner Hilary Duff.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you ladies did. And so I'm saying good behavior.
Okay, so you both have been officially deemed good behavior. Now we know it can be a little nerve-wracking coming up with an acceptance speech on the spot for such an award. And so we have written one for you both today to read together.
Do you want to read it at the same time? I feel like we should read it at the same time.
Sure.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Thank you, guys. It feels amazing that our good behavior, a public service to our community, is finally being acknowledged. As 2 women that host a podcast, we know what it's like to innovate, disrupt, and give back. And now we want to take that to the next level. That's right. We are announcing our bid to earn the Democratic nomination for president and vice president. Because if there's one thing we know that'll bring this country together, it's 2 women who love to laugh.
Amazing! That was really good of speaking at the same time.
Very in sync with the hand movements, too.
Wait, are we running for office?
Yes.
Seems like it.
I have to be VP because I wasn't born in America, so actually I can't run for president. Yeah.
we didn't know.
Yeah, sorry.
Wait. I'm not built to be president.
We're taking it back.
Yeah,
Cancel the nomination.
Okay, well, before we wrap up, can you tell listeners where to follow you guys and when episodes drop and all that jazz?
Yeah, our podcast is called I'm Right, You're Wrong, and you can listen to it anywhere you get your podcasts. But our podcast's Instagram is called Ethical Girlies, so at Ethical Girlies.
Yeah.
And then I'm Issa Medina.
I'm Lydia Keating.
And yeah, I guess you can follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram's Lydia Lou12.
And my Instagram is Isa Medina, ISAAMEDINAA.
And we have it linked in the description. So if you scroll up, you'll find a link.
Amazing. Well, thank you both so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
And that's our show. Thanks so much for listening today.
We absolutely hate to do this. We hate it.
But it would mean the world to us if you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts, rate and review.
Follow us at Bad Behavior NYC on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks again for listening.
And remember, whatever your moral status, we are always here to judge. Bye. Do you think that was good?